Sure. We can all dress up. Yeah.
I'm talking about, I did dress up. Look, I wore my, just because you did it doesn't mean you did.
Oh, is that right? Stand up. Oh, let's see it, Dad. All right, hold still. Hold through. Oh. Spoken like a lawyer, an attorney.
Oh, I know it.
Good evening.
We are on.
We're on live, and welcome to the Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting for Tuesday, December the 8th, 2020. This meeting is going to limit physical access in the meeting room due to current limitations on public gatherings. Accommodations have been made to ensure that the public is able to participate in the meeting. There are a number of ways the public can participate. Watch it on Franklin TV or on the City of Franklin website, or live stream it on Facebook or YouTube. You can call into the conference meeting at 1-312-626-6799 with a meeting ID of 993-337-9357 with the passcode of 932018. Callers will be unmuted, given an opportunity to comment during the meeting at specific times. Limiting viewing will be available in the lobby of City Hall to watch the live video and make public comments. The public may email comments and questions prior to 4 p.m. on the day of the meeting to the recorder at franklintn.gov. to be read aloud. Live comments and those submitted to email will be limited to 2 minutes. City YouTube site is www.youtube.com/user/City of Franklin, or the city Facebook is www.facebook.com/City of Franklin, and the website is franklintn.gov/Franklin TV. This meeting's been called to order. We're going to call the roll. Alderman Barnhill. Alderman Martin. Alderman Martin. I see her present. Alderman Speedy.
Present.
Alderman Berger.
Present.
Vice Mayor Berger, I'm sorry. Alderman Blanton.
Here.
Alderman Peterson.
Here.
And Alderman McClendon.
I'm here.
Okay. We'll now start with the invocation by Alderman Barnhill. I'll lead the Pledge of Allegiance, so if you'll join me in standing.
Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight in prayer, thanking you for this great nation that we live in and for all the many blessings we have. We know that we are going through some extremely difficult times with the coronavirus. We ask that you be with each person who has been affected by this, whether directly or indirectly. We ask that you be with their families. We also ask that you be with each of us and remember the time of the year, the season that we're in, and to have the Thanksgiving and giving spirit in our hearts. We ask that you be with the firemen, policemen, soldiers, those who protect our freedoms every day, who will keep us out of harm's way. We ask that you be with them, be with their families. This prayer we ask, for we offer in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item number 1 is consideration resolution 2020-251, a resolution declaring the Board of Mayor and Aldermen shall meet on December 8th, 2020 and conduct its essential business by electronic means rather than being required to gather a quorum of the members physically present in the same location because it's necessary to protect the health, safety, and welfare of Tennesseans.
in light of the COVID-19 outbreak. Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Is there a second? Thank you, Alderman Barnhill. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin. Unmute yourself there, Alderman Martin. Raise your hand if you're in favor of it, Alderman Martin. Thank you. Alderman Martin votes positive. Alderman Speedy?
Yes.
Alderman Berger?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Berger, excuse me. Alderman Blanton?
Yes.
Alderman Peterson?
Yes.
Alderman McClendon passes.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. We'll now go to opportunity for citizens to make comments for items that are not on the agenda tonight. Is there anyone who wants to speak to this body on items not on the agenda?
Your Honor, we do not have any telephone callers tonight.
Thank you. We'll go on to communications from Williamson County Commission. I have none. Approval of the minutes is next. And we're approving the minutes for the November 24th work session and Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting. Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Thank you, Alderman Peterson. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded, Alderman Martin. Thank you. Is any discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Alderman McClendon.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. We'll now do a recognition for Mike Hathaway. Mike, are you with us tonight?
I am, thank you.
Well, thanks for joining us tonight. And just to start out with, Mike has served on the Planning Commission for at least 15 years. And for most of those years, he served as the chairman of the Planning Commission. And he has decided not to seek reappointment. Mike's tenure on the Planning Commission has been characterized by a lot of development activity in the city of Franklin. And I think that you can see his thumbprint on the quality of development that we've seen during his tenure on the Planning Commission. And of course, his steady hand as chairman of the Planning Commission and also his professionalism. In addition, he's been on the historic zoning board, and I think Mike lives in the historic zoning area, and I know that's an important area for him. So Mike, I'd like to, I wish you were here physically present, like all the rest of us wish we were, but we are so appreciative of the work that you've done for the city of Franklin, and wish you the best. You're going to have some fun not filling up those Thursday nights, I think. But please come back. Please stay in touch. And again, thank you. And Emily, would you like to say anything?
Well, we're definitely going to say a few things on Thursday night. And we do have a little gift for you, Mike, but I wasn't able to grab it today in the office. But just want to thank you, Mike, for being such a pleasure to work with, at least in my, 13 years here at the city. And I just appreciate all the different comments and different perspective that you've brought to the Planning Commission. Your background and your perspective has really, I think, steered a lot of projects in a better direction. And I think the mayor's right. We can really see your thumbprint over many different projects around the city. So thank you so much for all your service. And I know the Planning Commission feels the same way.
Thank you, Emily. Appreciate that.
I just want to say, Mike, you're just a class act. And you brought some amazing projects to the city, and you conducted yourself in a very professional manner on the Planning Commission always, and great leadership. And I know you will be sorely missed there, but we will see you in your work around town. And thank you so much. I personally appreciate everything you've done for the city of Franklin and our community.
Mr. Mayor,
Thank you.
just another comment from the staff perspective. Mike has been a joy to work with. He's an outstanding professional. He's so insightful, and he is fantastic at chairing a meeting. The ability to successfully chair a contentious planning commission meeting is one of the most difficult things to do on the earth. It really is. And Mike has done it with grace. He's done it in a way that is respectful to all. And we just couldn't thank you enough for how much you have helped our community, helped our overall staff team, and you've just been great to work with. And we wish you nothing but the best and whatever's next for you, but are so grateful for your many contributions. And we'll always think of them fondly. Thank you.
And Mr. Mayor, may I also say, having worked with him on the Planning Commission for a very long time, he has done a wonderful job. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ann. Well, I just knew this would be a roast tonight, but thank you guys for your kind words. I remember when I first started, I was the young pup on the commission, and then the other day, somebody called me the old man, so I know maybe it's been more than 15 years, and I just haven't counted it very well. But it's been a lot of fun, and I give God the glory for the blessings that he's provided to me and my family. And we love living in Franklin and wouldn't consider going anywhere else. So thank you guys for your support, and love getting to know you guys on the alderman level, and Mr. Mayor, you as well. And I've worked under a lot of directors and the planning staff and staff there. And I've learned from each one of those guys, and it's been a pleasure to work with each one of those. So thank you guys for the opportunity that I've had.
This is very difficult. This is very difficult to do through Zoom. So I would personally ask everybody to unmute, and let's do this for Mike.
Thank you very much. I do the same back to you guys.
Thank you, Mike. The next item on the agenda is a very difficult one to start. Tonight we have an empty chair, and that chair has been filled by a lady who passed away suddenly, but served the community as on the Board of Mayor and Aldermen since 2007 and was involved in community service prior to that. Her passing has left a big void for all of us. And I hope this time is a time that I can ask aldermen to pay their respect to the accomplishments of Pearl Bransford and the work she did. So I'd like to offer that opportunity for each alderman, and then we just go down the list and as we've done in the past, and let you offer some comments. I'd like to sum up the comments after staff has some comments, and then we have a video tribute to Pearl after that. So Alderman Barnhill.
You know, I don't know that you've got words necessarily to describe 13 years of service and 13 years of serving together. But I would say this, Alderman Bransford will be greatly missed here at City Hall, but she'll also be missed in the community. She'll be missed by her family. And it is a tribute that we pay to her tonight for the service that she rendered and for the time that she gave to the citizens of Franklin. I very much appreciate Alderman Bransford. I very much appreciate the opportunity to serve with her for the 13 years that we served together. Some of that was sitting side by side at the board meeting. So thank you, Alderman Bransford. And we know that words cannot describe our feelings, and words cannot describe the service that you gave to the community. Thank you.
Alderman Martin, would you like to make a comment?
I'll just say that my time with Pearl on the board has been very, very meaningful. She was a true lady. I've learned a lot from Pearl, but our relationship goes back a long way to Johnson Elementary School with her girls, and they were students there, and Pearl was wonderful. And I just feel like she's just one of those people that's always been my friend. And I can't imagine going on without her, but she would say, Margaret, get up and go on, step over it and go on. So that's what I'm going to try to do. And I love you, Pearl, and I pray that your family will feel the arms of Jesus around them as they get through this period of grief. Thank you.
Alderman Speedy.
Pearl obviously be missed. She was always very gracious to me as kind of the newcomer on the board. And even when I was out knocking on doors, she invited me into the house on Granbury Street and spent 15 minutes with me then. And I was fortunate enough to get to know Pearl a little bit outside the board as well with the Sister Cities program. Got to host the Bod Soden kids while they were here. Unfortunately, we didn't get to send our kids over to Germany. The pandemic kind of hit us. So again, I just appreciate Pearl's generosity to me and on the board.
Pearl and I served, of course, as we all have, for 13 years. And we shared some awesome times together. And I came to know her as a very caring and compassionate. She was very fair-minded, and she had a strong spirit about her and a great resolve. We didn't always agree, but that's true of all of us. We were probably on the same page about 85% or 90% of the time, I would say. And Pearl ran for office, and she served the public for all the right reasons. I think one year we came to discover by surprise that we both had our special projects every November and December. And the ones we never spoke about unless we were both seeking help in order to be a help to others. I told her at one time, I called them opportunities rather than projects because they involved people, and people were a blessing and not a project. And Pearl smiled in remembrance. She said, ditto. And Pearl and I both discovered that we never went looking for these special blessings because through God's doing, they always found us. I know they always found Pearl, and I was grateful that some of those projects and some of those blessings found me. And so we shared some of those together sometimes, and we talked about them a little bit when we discovered we shared that. And it was through our public service as elected officials and through God's mercy, I think, and grace that we both had been given gifts of opportunities to serve others. And I know with her absence here on this earth, many people are going to be without an angel this holiday season, and they're going to be without an angel all year long. And they're going to miss those opportunities to meet a classy, wonderful lady who gave herself very freely to other people. Pearl has already greatly missed here on our board. And to Hank and her children and the entire Pearl Bransford family, Pearl gained much here on this earth. And she did remarkable work here, and she gained much on this earth, but she has gained the prize of all by her passing. And I remember Philippians says, For to us, to live is Christ, but to die is gain. And certainly Pearl has gained. Thank you, Pearl. We love you.
Alderman Blanton.
It's hard because so many of us have not seen each other in person in so long. And I actually got the opportunity to talk to Pearl a few weeks ago, and in much the way that none of us knew what she was shouldering for months and months and months. Even then, she didn't really tell me specifically what was going on, but I knew something was off. And for someone to have passed and no one know what was going on says a lot about the woman that Pearl was. It was never about her. You know, for me, and I can say this about Ann too, I got to know Pearl and Ann very, very deeply sitting under that tree at the complex when we're running for office. And for those of you in the public who don't understand, it's hard for us to have friendships with each other because we're not really allowed to talk about things we're voting on. But when you're around each other, it's typically in this setting. But when you have the opportunity to bond with somebody in the way that I was able to with Pearl, it gives you mileage for the long haul, and you get to know facial expressions. And in Pearl's situation, her quietness always just blew me away, because people on the board will tell you, and friends in public, that's not my nature, but it was hers. And I remember asking her shortly after I kind of got primed in the boardroom, I'm like, I realize that you don't really ever talk that much. And it was interesting to me because, you know, Scott will tell you as a new alderman, sometimes being quiet, you feel like you've got a spotlight on you. And Pearl impressed upon me that you don't always have to speak unless you have something important to say. And that's a huge lesson for someone like me. I appreciate her sense of humor. We got to go on several Franklin Tomorrow Vision City visits, and because it wasn't work, we got to hang out together, and that was always a treasure. I just miss the fact that she's not going to be with us to bring her special Pearl way to the board, and we are empty and we are different, and it's going to be hard moving forward. My heart hurts for Hank and those girls and her son, and for the city of Franklin, and the torch that Pearl carries specifically for so many demographics of our community who felt like she had their back. She and I had a lot of causes that ran parallel, and that was also a gift to me. So I dreamed about her last night. I told my husband, I was like, I got to talk to Pearl last night. And so that was really sweet. And I just remember her ways and her body language and even her verbal language, and the way that she would sometimes like say a word, you knew what she meant, but she maybe not said it exactly like you thought it was going to come out, but you knew what her intention was. And that was the fun of Pearl. So I'm just going to miss her terribly. So love you, Pearl, or as I used to call her, Pearline.
Alderman Peterson.
Well, there's so much that's been said already, but I will say the first words out of my mouth were, she is going to be missed. She did so many things, and I don't think anybody tonight has said her work in the medical field as a nurse, and also the many years that she was on the Franklin Special School District School Board. And I've just named two things. I mean, she was involved in so many things. But the main thing I want to say is we're going to miss her.
Alderman McClendon.
I wasn't expecting to have to say anything. I got a call when the mayor called me Saturday morning early. I picked up the phone and I said, "This can't be good." And he said, "That's not good." And then he told me Pearl had passed away. And a day or so later, I got a call from a reporter who wanted to know, wanted my thoughts or whatever. And they asked me, "Well, how long did you serve with her?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. Maybe 10 years or 8 or I didn't know." And I had to look it up, and I had no idea that I'd known and served with Pearl for 13 years. And while that might be a reflection of me, I think it was really just a comment upon the fact that being in Pearl's presence was really easy. It was very easy to be around Pearl. And she was kind to me when I didn't deserve it. And she was patient with me when I didn't deserve it. And it turned out that she'd been elected when Pearl got elected, and we had, we'd start being places together from time to time. Somebody'd walk up and Pearl was introducing me to people, and I'd already been an alderman like 10 or 12 years or something. It was never me introducing anyone to Pearl. It was Pearl introducing me to people. And yeah, she just seemed to know everybody, and everybody, and she knew everybody in a way that was, I don't know, different and better. I don't remember what we were talking about, but one time I think it was after a meeting, and we might have all disagreed about something, and I think I walked out to the garage with Pearl, and I think it was, I don't remember what the issue was, but it was an issue that people had gotten upset about, and Pearl and I had been on the same side of the thing, and Pearl said to me, "Well, I know they're upset, but that's all right. We're going to do it anyway." And I thought, well, that's because you're doing the right thing. So I'm going to miss her. I don't know. These kinds of things shouldn't happen. That's all I got.
Mr. Stuckey.
Yeah, I just thank you for the opportunity to just say a few words on behalf of your staff team. The relationship that we have together, that you have as a board to one another collectively, that you have with us as staff, and the way you interact with the public, it really, really matters. That tone is huge, and we referred to it a little bit in the discussion at work session, and you all have contributed to it, but Pearl contributed to it in a really special and meaningful way. Let me just give you a quick story. A year and a half ago, we had a meeting in this room, in the boardroom, and this is something that we do every time an election's getting ready to happen. We pull together a meeting of all the candidates, incumbents and challengers all together, and we provide a baseline of some information from city staff, the idea is to give everybody some of the same basic information to help them understand some of the basic structures and introduce ways that they can ask questions and learn, and we can help have informed candidates in an informed process in the election. And it's kind of, honestly, a lot of times it's kind of an awkward meeting because you have people who are running against each other sitting in the same room, and we're sharing some information, and everybody's always really polite, but it's awkward. And I remember when we had this meeting in July of 19, I thought we're about done because we'd done our usual stuff of sharing information, introducing people, introducing each other. And Pearl kind of took us in a different direction. She facilitated a discussion about what it's about to be an alderman. And I was like, where does that happen? Where does somebody take time, and you all gave each other, and some of you were there, you all gave each other this great advice about what it means to be an alderman, how you do it well, the ups and downs, and it was genuine, and it was genuine sage advice. And I thought to myself, I don't know anywhere in America where people who are about to run against each other give each other this wonderful, caring advice. And you all did it, but Pearl started it. And it was just, that was Pearl. And as Brandy Blanton said, Alderman Blanton said, it's because it wasn't about her. It wasn't about her. It was about the community. It was about how we do this right. And that is awesome. And that's the life of service that she was about. She lived and she loved well. And we were all part of that. And we got to kind of bask in that at different times in this journey. And that is something we are incredibly grateful for. And, you know, individually and collectively as a community, we are better for knowing Pearl and serving with Pearl and having Pearl serve us. Whether it was as a nurse, healthcare professional, a school board member, an alderman, or just a friend, a neighbor, just a great person. We have benefited greatly. We're all better for it. Our heart goes out to our, you know, we feel this. Just imagine the sense of loss, the grieving that her friends, other friends, and especially Hank and her children are feeling today, and our prayers are with them. And we just thank God to have had Pearl in our lives.
This is probably one of the hardest board meetings that we've ever had. But I'm going to try to put a little light in it for the future, if I might, in announcing tonight the creation of a scholarship fund in honor of City of Franklin Alderman Pearl Bransford for an individual or individuals pursuing the study of health sciences through Columbia State. The Pearl Bransford Memorial Scholarship is being created in conjunction with Franklin Damara and the family of the late Alderman Pearl Bransford, and is open for contributions from the public. Franklin Damara will collect those initial donations, and it's the intent of the organizers to endow the scholarship through Columbia State Community College in the first quarter of 2021. My wife and I are honored to be one of the first donors to this fund, and we would invite other people to join in funding this scholarship at Columbia State. Pearl is a supporter of Columbia State. She and Hank have a plaque on the wall in the one of the doors in the nursing college at Columbia State. I remember seeing her sign the steel beam before they erected it on the campus there. But if you talk about Pearl's life, it was about education. It was about healthcare. It was about, well, she's an international figure. You know, I had emails from Bod Soden. I had emails from Carlton Place, Canada. I had emails from Ireland for people that had never met Pearl, but had had communications with her. So I would encourage people to join the Bransford family in supporting this scholarship. The details will be available in the press release that's going to be given to the media tonight. So she was a unique individual, and I had an opportunity to be able to talk medicine with her. I had an opportunity to talk Sister City with her, talk education, but most importantly for our community, to talk about things that make our community better. So we have a video that we want to show now to commemorate Pearl's life.
You're broken down and tired of living life on the merry-go-round, and you can't find a fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Move mountains.
take pride in embracing the past and looking forward to the future. I think that's how we get things done when we engage the local folks, when we engage the neighbors and the friends. And I'm a believer of that. I love Franklin. I love the quality of life here. I have enjoyed these last few years working here with a group of folks, and not only at this desk and talking and solving problems regarding the city, but the folks that's out there that we are working for. Bring it to his feet. Mountains, and we'll rise up. I like the waves. We'll rise up. In spite of the ache, we'll rise up, and we'll do it 1,000 times again.
Let's have a moment of silence.
Thank you for that. Robert Mott, thank you so much for creating that for us. And I would ask if Robert could make some copies of that we could pass on to the Bransford family and Cornelia Holland, who has been her best friend for many years. So if he could do that, that'd be great. Are there any miscellaneous reports tonight?
Mr. Mayor, I would like to highlight just a couple things, just words of thanks of what's been going on from our staff team during this very unusual time that we've tried to find ways to embrace the season and celebrate it. Although we can't do it the way we'd like to, we've done a number of things that I just want to highlight that are extra efforts that our staff team, our city team has put together. This past Friday and Saturday, we had a light extravaganza at Eastern Flank Battlefield Park. And we saw nearly 5,000 cars go through that park and look at the light displays that our teams put together. And they were incredibly creative. We saw the abominable snowman and Yukon Cornelius on a snowplow. We saw lots of fun things that celebrated the season and also had a little bit of touch of truck mixed in with it. So I want to thank our parks team especially, but also our public works folks who stepped up and put those displays together. And it was really, really welcomed by the public. We got so many complimentary comments, and the only complaint we got is that there were so many people who wanted to go. It's too popular. So I want to thank our team for that. Also, our parks team facilitated the Christmas parade that happened at Harlansdale. We counted 1,500 cars there. Don't know exactly the number of people, but a good turnout there. But in that space, we were able to really spread people out, do it in a safe way, have it be separate from the downtown activity. And I think that was a great way to work together. I want to thank the board and Alderman Bland in particular for making that suggestion that we revisited that option together and came together around doing it that way. And I think that was really well done and nice and done in a way that was safe for the broader community. And then finally, our firefighters have done this great thing of taking Santa to neighborhoods. And we've had, I think, some 52 neighborhoods sign up down the last 2 Saturdays. We'll do it the next couple Saturdays, I think, as well. And we're going out and about. And if you've seen any of the social media videos of them coming through neighborhoods, people have loved it. And again, we're finding ways, even in this unique time, to celebrate the season, to connect our community. And I want to thank our staff team for doing that. That's not easy. And I want to thank them for the creativity to do that and to share some of the joy of the season. And of course, we did a virtual tree lighting on Thanksgiving night too. So thanks everybody for the work that you put together to find ways to connect the community and celebrate Christmas and the holiday season, Thanksgiving, and the important times of the holidays. So thank you for that, and thanks to our team.
We're now ready for the consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda are deemed to be non-controversial and routine in nature by the governing body, and they will be approved as recommended by committee or staff by one motion of the governing body. Tonight, we're looking at items number 30 through 34, and I would entertain a motion.
Motion to approve, Mayor.
Thank you,
Second.
Alderman Barnhill, seconded by Alderman Peterson. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill,
Yes.
Alderman Martin,
Yes.
Alderman Speedy,
Yes.
Alderman Berger, Vice Mayor Berger, I can't get it right. Vice Mayor Berger,
Yes.
thank you. Alderman Blanton,
Yes.
Alderman Peterson,
Yes.
Alderman McClendon,
Yes.
passes 7-0. Next is item 5, which is City of Franklin contract number 2020-0247, a professional services agreement with Boozer and Company PC for on-call appraisal services. Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Thank you, Alderman Peterson. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Martin. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill. You're
Yes.
muted. Thank you, Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Berger,
Yes.
Alderman Blanton, Alderman Blanton,
Yes.
thank you. Alderman Peterson,
Yes.
Alderman McClendon,
Yes.
passes 7-0. Item 6, consideration City of Franklin contract number 2020-0248, professional services agreement with Richard L. Maddox and Associates for on-call appraisal services. Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Thank you, Alderman Martin. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Peterson. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill,
Yes.
Alderman Martin,
Yes.
Alderman Speedy,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Berger,
Yes.
Alderman Blanton,
Yes.
Alderman Peterson,
Yes.
and Alderman McClendon.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Item 7, City of Franklin contract 2020-0249, a professional services agreement with Rhett Turner MAI for on-call appraisal services. Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Thank you, Alderman Blanton. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Berger. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Alderman McClendon.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Item 8, this is a public hearing consideration ordinance 2020-24, an ordinance to rezone 3.81 acres from Plan District 4.75 to Plan District 12.6 for the property located north of Cherokee Place and west of Shawnee Drive, located at 600 Chickasaw Place.
Thank you. Good evening, Board Mayor and Alderman. The Envision Franklin Land Use Plan places this parcel in the mixed residential design concept, which supports the proposed rezoning to the higher density. The rezoning and development plan for the Chickasaw PUD is being done in conjunction with the neighboring Cherokee Place PUD rezoning and development plan, and you'll hear those items later on this evening as well. Staff recommends approval of ordinance 2020-24. Thank you.
Does anyone want to speak to this body on item number 8? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. I entertain a motion.
Move for approval.
Thank you, Alderman Martin. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Peterson. Any discussion? Ready to vote? We'll start from the bottom. Alderman McClendon.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Item number 9, this is a public hearing, consideration resolution 2020-161, a resolution approving a revised development plan for Chickasaw PUD for the property located north of Cherokee Place and west of Shawnee Drive, located at 600 Chickasaw Place. Joe, you got this one?
I do. I'll have the next 3. The purpose of this revision is to change the boundaries of the development in order to accommodate the Cherokee Place PUD subdivision project. The original development plan for the Chickasaw PUD was approved by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen in August of 2017. No new additional dwelling units are being proposed for the Chickasaw PUD with this development plan revision. Staff recommends approval of resolution 2020-161. Thank you.
Does anyone want to speak to this body? No calls. I declare the public hearing closed. Is there a motion?
Move for approval, please.
Thank you, Alderman Blanton. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Peterson. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Alderman McClendon. Passes 6-0 with, there we go, 7-0. Next is item 10. This is a public hearing, consideration ordinance 2020-25, an ordinance to rezone 8.15 acres from Plan Development 4.75 to Plan District 12.27 for property located south of Chickasaw Place and west of Shawnee Drive, located at 1101 Shawnee Drive, Cherokee Place PUD subdivision. Take her away, Joey.
Thank you. The Envision Franklin Land Use Plan places this parcel in the mixed residential design concept, which supports the proposed rezoning with a higher density. The Cherokee Place PUD is proposing to tear down the existing structures and replace them with 100 new housing units, which we will discuss further with the development plan in the next item. Staff recommends approval of ordinance 2020-25. Thank you.
Anyone want to speak to this body? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Thank you, Alderman Martin. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Peterson. Any discussion? Ready to vote. Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Alderman McClendon.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Item 11, this is a public hearing, consideration resolution 2020-166, a resolution approving a development plan for Cherokee Place PUD with 2 modification of development standards for parking standards and foundation requirements for the property located south of Chickasaw Place and west of Shawnee Drive, located at 1101 Shawnee Drive.
Thank you. The applicant is proposing to construct 100 dwelling units in 21 new residential buildings as part of the Cherokee Place PUD. The plan calls for the removal of the existing buildings and new buildings to be constructed in their place. Envision Franklin places this lot in the mixed residential design concept, which states combination of single-family dwelling, big houses, duplexes, and townhouses. The defined character across the design concept may vary by neighborhood, but new development should transition from existing development patterns in adjacent neighborhoods. Additionally, it says infill and redevelopment near downtown Franklin should maintain the traditional residential character and reflect the scale of the area. The plan as proposed features a variety of building types with setbacks and architectural styling that is compatible with the surrounding neighborhoods. Walkways create a pedestrian-friendly community that connect to city parks and green spaces. The plan overall meets the recommendations and principles of Envision Franklin. There are 2 modification of standards requests with this application. For the first, the applicant is requesting to revise the minimum parking standards for multifamily as follows: 2.25 spaces per 2-bedroom and 2.75 spaces per 3-bedroom unit. The zoning ordinance states that a minimum of 2.5 spaces be required for every 2-bedroom unit and 3 spaces for every 3-bedroom unit. The applicant has provided additional examples and supplementary information, as well as there are site constraints on the property that justifies this request. Staff recommends approval of the first modification of standard for parking. For the second, the applicant is requesting to remove the 18-inch minimum heights for the non-multifamily building type foundations requirement. The zoning ordinance requires townhouse and duplex building types to have a minimum 18-inch foundation. In order to comply with applicable housing regulations, the residential buildings must be constructed at ground level or feature ADA accessible ramps to the various entries of the dwelling units. Given the public nature of this housing project, it is important to provide as much accessibility for each dwelling unit as possible. Therefore, staff recommends approval of the second modification of standards. With all of that in mind, staff recommends that the board, mayor, and aldermen approve with conditions resolution 2020-166, and happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Okay, we have a speaker, Dan Keene. We'll go ahead and hear from him. You have 2 minutes, Mr. Keene.
Why, thank you. Can everybody hear me? Thumbs up if you can. Can you hear me? Yes. Yes, okay. I am Dan Keene. I live at 312 Whittigen Court. If you look at this map we're looking at, the upper left-hand corner, that green box, you'll see down at the bottom of it, Whittigen Court, and where the words CT are, that's my house. This is the first time I've come to this meeting, and I want you to know that I have a lot of gratitude for you folks and for our form of government, that we can come to important meetings like this, and the citizens are welcome to express our input. And I don't take that for granted. I really, really appreciate it. So thank you for letting me speak here tonight. As I mentioned, we live here right next to the the existing public housing on Cherokee Place, and there's a plan, of course, to redevelop it. As further more of a little setup very briefly. I'm a professor at Belmont and I teach in the School of Music Business. So I want you to know that I love music and I have a lot of respect and a deep understanding and appreciation for those that love music, especially here in Franklin. However, there are limits. And occasionally my neighbors and I that live along that stretch there on Birchwood Circle that you can see in the left-hand corner, we hear a lot of bumping music coming from the public housing over there. And most of the time it's all right, but occasionally it gets too loud and we can hear it in our homes and it interferes with the enjoyment of our own music or the TV that we're watching. But that is mitigated by the parking that is on the east side of the housing units there. So if you're looking at that purple area on Cherokee, and then it comes, there are houses that are come vertically from north to south there, but the parking is on the east side. And so that often buffers the music that we hear, and it's fine. And again, I'm glad that all of us enjoy music and I support us enjoying our music, but it can get occasionally really, really loud. However, it's buffered because the parking is on the east side. The plan that I looked at for the redeveloping of this housing unit development, they have moved the parking to the west side of the homes. In other words, there would be nothing between us there on Birchwood Circle and the cars parked there. And that tends to be where young people congregate to enjoy their music and crank it up loud and do whatever they do. That's going to be a problem. As I mentioned, right now, there are housing units between us and the parking that buffers the sound. But my concern is if the parking is now moved to the west side, there will be nothing to buffer that sound. And it's going to interrupt a lot of outdoor gatherings and indoor gatherings in our home because again, the loud bass and what's happening there with the music. Not trying to be a buzzkill or get in the way of anybody enjoying their music, but I would ask you to please consider leaving the parking on the east side of the buildings so that the buildings can provide a little bit of a buffer for the sound and we all can enjoy what we want to enjoy in the privacy of our homes. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Are there any other public comments? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion.
Mayor, I'll make the motion, but I would like for us to, for Joey to look at that parking and see why it was changed. I don't know whether to make the motion to accept it or not to accept it because of the parking. But I think he needs to look into that.
Is that your motion to approve with the planning department reviewing Mr. Keene's comments and returning?
Yes, and maybe changing that parking back to the east side of those units.
Or some type of buffer maybe. Is there a second?
I'm wondering how the plans themselves, I'm sure that the Housing Authority has gone through a great deal of effort in the planning on the east side or the west side with those cars.
Is there a second? I still need a second before we discuss it.
I'll second it.
Okay, go ahead.
I would wonder what the ramifications are for us to change that, knowing that my dealings with Public Housing Authority, they're pretty thorough on their plans and what they do. And I would be concerned about us maybe on the fly changing something that drastically could affect the product itself. So I'll second it, but I'm second reluctantly with the whatever it takes to make it move from left to right or right to left. So let's go with that.
Mayor, the reason that I've said that is because those neighbors over there on Birchwood have endured years of abuse from the residents in the housing project. That's my ward, and I've gone over there many, many, many times. And I really do not see why they have to endure one more thing. Now, Clyde, I understand what you're saying, but maybe I'm just asking for planning to look at that and talk to the housing authority to see why they moved that parking.
Joey, can you make some comments there?
Yes, sir. So parking is not allowed. It would have to change the frontage type and to accommodate having parking in front of the new dwelling units. And an MOS for frontage type is not allowed. So they cannot even request changing that frontage type to move the parking in the current layout. So a significant rework of the entirety of the plan would have to be reworked.
This will have to come back for another vote, correct?
But there is a third reading. I'm sorry. No, not
this is development.
Tonight is the public is the only reading for the resolution. The ordinance for rezone will have a third reading, but for the development plan, this is the only reading tonight.
Okay.
If we turned it down, Mayor, if we turned it down tonight, could they look at it and bring it back?
You'd have to go back through, wouldn't you? I'm looking for Sean, our planning staff.
If you vote it down, yeah, your rezoning has to go with the development plan. So we've got another issue with the item you just passed. So if you vote it down, we still got a rezoning that we're gonna have to deal with without a development plan. Maybe if you want more answers, the better thing to do is to defer it. And then we would need to go back up to the rezoning and defer it so that they line up.
Mayor.
But also a significant rework is probably going to require resubmittal for staff review, just as a heads up. It's probably not something that's going to be able to be done in between this and the next meeting necessarily.
Yeah, and Margaret, can I add something for you, Alderman Martin? The requirements of the zoning ordinance today require that you have a certain frontage type, and it doesn't allow a parking lot in between the building and the street. And where their existing road is on the site, they have very limited development on how much they can put in between that road and the property line. So they're limited on how they can design this complex to begin with. And the type of units that they're creating there, you know, they're so long, and then they have to get parking somewhere. So they're very limited on what they can do. I know they've worked hard to try to fit the units in there and meet all the requirements of the zoning ordinance. And I cannot think of another way to do it short of perhaps just not putting units there. Just for your information.
Well,
Alderman McClendon.
Appreciate it.
It seems to me that the problem is not where the parking is. The problem is the alleged behavior of the human beings. Now, I don't know whether or not this has happened or not. The man says it has. Ms. Martin says it has. That's fine. The problem is not retooling where the parking lot is. The problem is the behavior of the people that is alleged. I don't see how retooling the parking lot changes anything except which side of the development is bothered by the alleged misbehavior.
Well, what do you suggest we do about the misbehavior, Dana?
Maybe it's a policing issue.
We have a police department.
And believe me, they are used all the time.
Okay, we need to we have a motion. We need to go back to the modification of standards at this point, unless there's some other motion. So the first modification of standard is the parking. Is there a motion relative to modification of standard 1 as far as parking standards?
I move approval for the modification of standards 1.
And that's a second by Alderman Barnhill. Is there any discussion on that modification of standard? Let's vote then. Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
No.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Alderman McClendon.
Yes.
Passes 6-1. We'll now consider modification standard 2 as far as foundation requirements. Is there a motion?
Move for approval of modification standard 2.
Thank you. Alderman Peterson, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Alderman Martin. Any discussion on modification standard 2? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Alderman McClendon.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. We'll go back now to the original motion with the 2 modification of standards. Is there any discussion on it? Any additional discussion?
Mr. Mayor, the only thing I would say is I looked a little bit further here, and they are planning some landscaping on that edge that would abut the area that was under concern. They have planned landscaping over there.
Thank you for that comment. Any other discussion?
Mayor, we are approving that a resolution as it's written, right?
Correct. Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
No.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Alderman McClendon.
Yes.
Passes 6-1. Item 12. This is the City of Franklin Contract 2020-0263 Parkland Impact Fee and Construction Agreement between City of Franklin and Franklin Housing Authority for Cherokee Place Development. Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Thank you, Alderman Peterson. Is there a second?
Second, Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Barnhill. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Alderman McClendon.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Number 13, this is a public hearing consideration of resolution 2020-157, a resolution amending resolution 2015-26 to modify and update the plan of services for 1845 Carters Creek Pike by the City of Franklin. Who's got that one?
I can take that, Mayor. This is the property on Carter's Creek Pike, the equestrian development that is now completed, and we revised this plan of service from the original plan of service that was approved back in 2015 to reflect what has currently evolved and is happening with the property.
Does anyone want to speak to this body on this particular thing, this item? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. Is there a motion?
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Alderman Barnhill. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Peterson. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Alderman McClendon.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Item 14, this is a public hearing for acknowledgement of progress report on resolution 2015-26 resolutions amended, adopting a plan of services for the annexation of 1845 Carter Creek Pike by the city of Franklin.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to give a brief background on the purpose of these progress reports. We have 11, and for each subsequent item, I will speak specifically to the progress report. Changes were made to state law effective May 2015 that affected the annexation process, including the plan of services adopted as part of the annexation. Not only is a plan of service required for any annexation considered by a municipality, but a progress report is required 6 months after the adoption of the plan of service and annually thereafter until such a time as the city has fulfilled all of its obligations. The progress report is required to be published in a newspaper of general circulation, and a public hearing is required to be held. The progress report provided identifies only the city's obligations for extending services to the annexed properties. It should be noted that many times the plan of service is written to require the extension of public infrastructure as development occurs, often by the developer themselves, and not necessarily immediately after an annexation becomes effective. This public hearing addresses the plan of services for one property at 1845 Carter's Creek Pike. This property was annexed on September 22nd, 2015. The property is currently being used as an equestrian center. At this time, the city has fulfilled any and all of its obligations as outlined in Resolution 2015-26. The amendment that you just passed on the agenda does not require any obligation of the city. There will be no other reports given on this plan of service.
Does anyone want to speak to this body? I declare the public hearing closed. We'll go to item 15. Acknowledgement of progress report on resolution 2015-73, a resolution adopting a plan of services for the annexation of 4150 Clovercroft Road and the property immediately adjacent to the east of the city of Franklin, Tennessee.
Thank you. This public hearing addresses the plan of services for two properties, parcels 80-11.01 and 80-12.05. These properties are annexed on February 23rd, 2016. The Parish Presbyterian Church PUD subdivision is currently approved for these properties. At this time, the city has one outstanding obligation, which is to annex the frontage along Clovercroft Road. A progress report for this plan of services will be provided annually until this obligation of the city has been completed.
Does anyone want to speak to this body? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. Item 16, acknowledgement of progress report on resolution 2016-41, a resolution adopting a plan of services for the annexation of property located south of Murfreesboro Road and north of South Carruthers Road and adjoining the city limits within the east part of Franklin urban growth boundary by the city of Franklin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As the title said, this public hearing addresses the plan of services for 6 properties. These properties were annexed on December 13th, 2016. The Coletta Park PUD subdivision is currently approved on the properties. At this time, the city has fulfilled any and all of its obligations as outlined in Resolution 20-16 or 2016-41. No other reports given for this plan of service.
Does anyone want to make a comment on this issue, this public hearing? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. We'll go to item 17, acknowledgement of progress report on resolution 2016-45, resolution adopting a plan of services for the annexation of 459, 463, 467 Franklin Road, the city of Franklin.
Thank you. This public hearing addresses the plan of services for 3 properties. These properties were annexed on February 28th, 2017. The property was given an R1 residential zoning district, and no new development has been approved on these properties. At this time, the city has fulfilled any and all of its obligations as outlined in Resolution 2016-45. There will be no other reports given for this plan of service.
Does anyone want to speak to this body on this issue? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. Item number 19, acknowledgement of progress report on Resolution 2017-13, a resolution adopting a plan of services for the annexation of Bushnell and Bates properties for the city of Franklin.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. This public hearing addresses the plan of services for 2 properties. These properties were annexed on September 26, 2017. These properties are currently approved for the Bushnell Farm PUD subdivision. At this time, the city has fulfilled any and all of its obligations as outlined in Resolution 2017-13. There will be no other reports given on this plan of service.
Does anyone want to speak to this body on this issue? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. Item 20, acknowledgement of progress report on Resolution 2019-21, a resolution adopting a plan of services for the annexation of the Bennett property by the city of Franklin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This public hearing addresses the plan of services for 1 property. This property was annexed on July 9th, 2019. This property is currently approved for the Refuge Center PUD subdivision. At this time, the city has fulfilled any and all of its obligations as outlined in Resolution 2019-21. There will be no other reports given on this plan of service.
Does anyone want to speak to us on Resolution 2019-20? I'm sorry, 2017-13. I declare the public hearing closed. Item 20, acknowledgement of progress report on Resolution 2019-21, a resolution adopted.
That's the one you just done.
Oh, I'm sorry. They all kind of seem the same, don't they? Let me go to 21. That's good news.
Hold on.
Acknowledgement of progress report.
21. We just did 2019-21.
No, we're on to number 21.
We're on number 21 now.
Yeah, item 20 is 2019-21. Item 21 is 2019-74.
Okay, sorry. Is that what
That's the one we're going to now, is a resolution for a plan of services for annexation of 4331 Long Lane by the city of Franklin.
Thank you. This public hearing addresses the plan of services for 1 property. This property was annexed on November 12, 2019. The property was given a state residential zoning district and no development has been approved for the property. At this time, the city has fulfilled any and all of its obligations as outlined in Resolution 2019-74. There will be no other reports given for this plan of service.
Is there anyone wanting to speak to this body on Resolution 2019-74? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. Item 22, acknowledgement of progress report on Resolution 2019-78, a resolution adopting a plan of services for the annexation of several properties located south of Long Lane, east of Interstate 65, outside of the southeastern part of the Franklin urban growth boundary by the city of Franklin.
This public hearing addresses the plan of services for 26 properties annexed by referendum voted on by property owners at the October 22nd, 2019 election. This annexation became effective on December 7th, 2019. The properties were given in a state residential zoning district and no new development has been approved for any of these properties. At this time, the city has fulfilled any and all of its obligations as outlined in Resolution 2019-78. There will be reports given on this plan of service.
And is there any public comment on 2019-78? If not, I declare the public hearing closed. We'll go to item 23, which is a progress report on Resolution 2019-117, a resolution adopting a plan of services for the annexation of 2 properties located east of Lewisburg Pike and north and south of the intersection of Stream Valley Boulevard.
This public hearing addresses the plan of services for 2 properties. These properties were annexed on February 25th, 2020. Currently, the Meadows and Villages at Southbrook PUD subdivisions are approved for these properties. At this time, the city has fulfilled any and all of its obligations as outlined in Resolution 2019-117. There will be no other reports given for this plan of service.
And is there anyone that wants to speak to this particular resolution? If not, I declare the public hearing closed. We'll now go to number 24, which is acknowledgement of progress report on resolution 2020-21, a resolution adopting a plan of services for the annexation of 1268 Lewisburg Pike 2380 and 2390 Henpeck Lane by the city of Franklin.
This public hearing addresses the plan of services for 3 properties. These properties were annexed on May 26, 2020. The properties include 2 Williamson County school properties and the Ivory Brook Academy site. At this time, the city has fulfilled any and all of its obligations as outlined in Resolution 2020-21. There will be no other reports given for this plan of service.
And does anyone want to speak to resolution 2021-21? I'm sorry, 2020-21. Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. We'll now go to item 25, resolution 2020-252, a resolution authorizing the city administrator to approve agreements to acquire right-of-ways and or easements for the McEwen Drive Phase 4 improvements project without prior approval by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. Is there a motion?
I move for approval.
Good.
Yeah.
Is there a second? Alderman Berger made the motion. Second, Alderman Martin. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Alderman McClendon.
Yes.
Passes unanimously 7-0. Item 26, Amendment 2 to City of Franklin Contract 2011-0030 with the City of Brentwood, Tennessee, concerning adjustment of boundaries of Franklin and Brentwood south of Split Log Road and north of the proposed McEwen Drive extension. Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Thank you, Alderman Peterson. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Barnhill. Any discussion? Ready to vote. Alderman Barnhill, how do you vote?
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Alderman Berger.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Berger, excuse me. Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Alderman McClendon.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Next is consideration of appointment Kathy Worthington to the Historic Zoning Commission. This lady brings a great deal of talent to the Zoning Commission. She has experience in New Orleans Historic Zoning District and also is on the faculty of O'Moore College. So I'd like a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Alderman Berger,
Second.
Vice Mayor Berger. And who was the second? Alderman Blanton. Thank you. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin. Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Thank you. Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
What's going on here?
Alderman Blanton.
I said yes. Yes,
Oh,
sir.
did you? Thank you. Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Alderman McClendon.
Yes.
Thank you. Item 28 is appointment of Nicholas Mann to the Franklin Municipal Planning Commission. Mr. Mann is a real estate attorney, currently the head of real estate for Bridgestone, years of prior experience with a large Nashville law firm, very familiar with development, brings a lot of expertise to the Planning Commission. Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Thank you.
Second.
Seconded by Vice Mayor. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson,
Yes.
Alderman McClendon.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Next is item 29, mayor's appointment of Brandy Blanton to the City of Franklin Beer Board.
Move for approval.
Second.
Do I not get a glowing recommendation? I waited tables most of my career.
Brandy knows stuff about beer.
I do. I was a bartender from 1991 to 2002. Yeah.
You just can't bring your own beer to the beer board. That I found out.
Well, we welcome this levity here tonight. Thank you. And I'm excited to have you on the beer board, and thanks for volunteering. Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill?
Yes.
Alderman Martin?
Yes.
Alderman Speedy?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Berger?
Yes.
Alderman Blanton? You can vote for yourself.
I know. Watch me, Dana. I'm going to vote for myself. Yes.
Alderman Peterson?
Yes.
And Alderman
Go, girl.
McClendon?
Yeah.
Okay, I need a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Vice Mayor Berger, and seconded by Alderman Barnhill. Alderman Barnhill, how do you vote on that?
Yes.
Alderman Martin?
Yes.
Alderman Speedy?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Berger?
Yes.
Alderman Blanton?
Yes, sir.
Alderman Peterson?
Yes.
Alderman McClendon?
Oh, why not?
We're in executive session. returned from executive session at the, whoop. Are there any matters to be considered from the executive session?
Mayor, I have a
Alderman
motion.
McClendon. Go ahead.
Mayor, I move that the city of Franklin settle the lawsuits, Dr. Ernest Kulo versus the city of Franklin and the city of Franklin versus Dr. Ernest Kulo on the following terms: that Dr. Kulo pay to the city $10,000 in return for which Dr. Kulo will get a permanent easement, meets and bounds to be addressed by the attorneys. All the lawsuits will be dismissed with prejudice. Everyone will pay their own costs and fees.
Is there a second?
I will second that.
Thank you, Alderman Blanton. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Alderman McClendon.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Is there any other business to come before this body? If not,
Move
I
to adjourn.
thank you for the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Alderman Peterson. Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin. Alderman Bransford.
Yes.
Registered Alderman Martin is yes. Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes, sir.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Alderman McClendon.
Yes.
We are dismissed. Thank you.
Thank you. Merry Christmas to y'all.
Yeah, likewise.